Hi, this is Ofori, the digital reader, and this is a follow-up to the video I did in defense of Amazon, where I kind of talked about why I thought Amazon made the decision to stop people from downloading their ebooks, and why I feel they made a decision to start posting in ebook sales that the ebook was a license, even though it was in their terms of service. Now, whenever you look at an ebook on Amazon's website, it clearly says it's a license. So since I've made that video, some new information has come to light, but just kind of first a general recap. When this happened, obviously it took the BookTube world by storm, and people generally thought Amazon was doing it because of one of three reasons. The first reason is Amazon sucks and they're evil. And I totally get this. People were definitely put out by the fact that they thought Amazon was just taking away one more thing from them as far as their ownership and enjoyment of books. The second reason was that Amazon was doing it to fight against piracy. I was always a little suspicious of this because booktuber piracy is just not really a thing. Booktubers actually take pride in the fact that they're paying authors for their work, and we don't mind cheap books. But you almost never see a booktuber video where they're bragging about how they're pirating books and getting books without paying for them. To us, that's just not cool. And we feel that if we can't afford to buy books, we'll just use Libby. We'll go to the library. We're just not a big group where piracy is something that we think is cool. The third option, and really this was my thoughts on it, is that they were doing it because they were in disputes with publishers, and they wanted to make 100% clear to publishers that they let us know that the books were licenses so that publishers couldn't charge them the same types of fees as physical books, because people are essentially getting these books and owning them. And then there's the fourth option. I didn't even know a fourth option existed until a commenter on my In Defense of Amazon video, Kai Rilson, put in a comment. And the comment was, the reason for the addition of licensing verbiage when buying an ebook now is because of the new California law that requires companies to disclose that digital purchases are just licenses. And I was like, what? I had never heard of that. I thought that was very interesting, and I looked into it. And it turns out last year, California passed a law that was to take effect in 2025. And this law was to help clarify the confusion about buying digital media. So they basically said, if you're using the words buy or purchase, you need to do two things to clarify to people whether the digital media can be owned, is for their permanent ownership or not. So the first thing that you would need to do, and you can do either or of these things, but the first option would be to clearly mark when the person's looking at the media that it's for a license, which Amazon does now for their books. The second thing is that if you don't clearly mark it in the beginning of the process, then at the end of the process, you must get you must have the person agree to the fact that they are purchasing a license instead of physical media. So you either have to do it in the beginning by making it very clear, kind of like they do with cigarettes, kind of have like a warning label, or at the end of the process, you have to get them to agree to the fact that I'm about to buy this and I know it's a license. So when I heard that, I just kind of felt like, I think maybe this is it. I think Kai Rilson 71 has kind of cracked the Da Vinci Code on this, because this made a lot more sense to me than the other options that were being bandied about. Like I said, Amazon's evil, they're fighting piracy, or even my option, they were doing it for publishing. And I thought I'd kind of just do a little bit of checking to see if this was consistent. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to see what came up when I bought an MP3 It's been determined for years now that if you buy MP3, you own it. So that message absolutely shouldn't come up for MP3s. Then I'll take a quick look at a book and see, what's there when a book comes up. I mean, I kind of know the answer to that because I look at books a lot, but we'll see what's there when a book comes up. And then the third option, and to me, what will really help drive a nail in this is if I go to buy a movie and the movie tells me that I'm just licensing it. So let's get started with checking this out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Amazon and I'm going to buy an MP3. I'm just picking the most popular one out there, Not Like Us. I'm going to go to Amazon Music and I'm going to buy it. And as you can see, when I buy it, it looks just like it always did. I get no notice or anything that I'm buying a license, and that should be the case because MP3s, you're buying them to own them. So next, we'll go to a book. So the book I'm going to pull up is Jim by Percival Everett. So when I go to that book and I go to pull that book up, I can clearly see if I go to the right, by placing your order, you're purchasing a license to the content and you agree to the Kindle Store terms of use. So it clearly tells me up front before I click anything, I'm buying a license. I already knew that, but it's just wanted to confirm that. So now the last piece of cracking the code is to see what happens when I buy a video. So I'm going to go to Amazon Prime Video, and the video I'm going to buy is a movie I hadn't seen yet, and that's Kraven the Hunter. Since I haven't seen it yet, I can live with buying it. I mean, I don't really want to buy it, but this is for science. So I'm going to go to Kraven, and I'm going to start going through the purchase process. Now, so far, I haven't seen anything telling me I'm purchasing a license. I didn't see it when I pulled up the initial screen on Kraven. So let me keep going through the purchasing process. So I'm going to the point where I'm putting in my purchase code. I still don't see anything about it being a license. So I guess I'm going to have to buy this. But bam, now that I'm getting ready to buy it, I get the notice that I'm buying a license. So this to me is, at least for me, it's pretty clear that that's what's happening with Amazon. That Amazon is actually the first large media seller to be compliant with California's law. It'll be interesting to see what Kobo does. It'll be interesting to see what Barnes & Noble's does as far as being compliant with this law. But I think that is the answer. And please, everyone, give Kairilson71 a thumbs up in the In Defense of Amazon video to let them know, thank you. Thank you for bringing this information to our attention. This is what's going on. The other really cool thing is, I was kind of a mind that this is some big conglomerates fighting with big conglomerates and it had nothing to do with us. The cool part is it has everything to do with us. I mean, this law was made for consumers who are purchasing or licensing digital content to make it much more clear to us what we were doing. So this is absolutely about us and our purchases, and this was done through our governmental processes, which is even cooler when you consider, so many people, maybe losing faith in government. This was very nice to see. So I just thought I would bring this update forward so everybody can kind of take a look at it and comment, or at least they'll have a better idea as to what's going on. And I also hope it makes people who, still liked Amazon but were feeling a little bit guilty kind of feel like, oh, okay, this is Amazon being compliant with, a law, and this is Amazon being the first to be compliant with this law. And I can still, make my decisions based on what I want to do and not feel guilty that there's some, morally bankrupt business changing the rules willy-nilly. So anyway, this is Ofori, the digital reader, and keep reading.